Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. We are on the air. This is Thesis.
I mean, the Persian Empire's army was so big, they would dry out the rivers. But Herodotus says that in his book. When all my life, growing up, through the 80s, all I remember being taught at school is that we should be colorblind. But now it seems like these people that call themselves progressives are looking back past the civil rights to where now I should care about what skin color I am or the other person is. Educate yourself. Open your eyes. Don't be led around like sheep or cattle.
Government will always push its boundaries, no matter who is in charge.
Today's show, I wanted to talk about a little bit about like legalization and things like that. When markets get saturated, only the strong survive.
We see the crossover from what religion teaches us about behaviors, and we can see the proof in the science.
I'm not scared of the virus. I'm not scared of the pandemic. You know why? Because I know that there's something greater than all of this.
This is Thesis. Everything is everything. I am your host, Jay Marie.
3, 2, 1, we are on the air. This is Thesis. Everything is everything. I am your host, Jay Marie. How's it going out there, folks? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for showing up and hanging out with us today. Coming to you live from Zombieland. Yes, sir. Well, I want to thank you guys for checking in and showing up today, checking in on us today. I really appreciate that. So you see, it's been about 2 weeks since we last spoke, and I was feeling really good today. So I figured let's go ahead and go ahead and knock this out, because I've had this idea of what the next subject would be for a while now, and those couple weeks kind of gave me time to clear my head and to kind of get our thoughts together on what we're going to talk about next. So I am glad and happy that you found some time to be with us today. All right, well, you know what? Let's just jump right in. As we know, I just built this the studio here, and it had me thinking while I was doing it. It had me thinking prior to doing it and after doing it. I started thinking about like the time that I invested into this, the money that I invested into building, the studio, and the purpose of why I wanted to build it, and then some certain things kind of came to light, in religion and in the scriptures, we hear about sacrifice, and we all understand what sacrifice is, but I think the way it's explained, let's say like in religion, in historical terms, confuses the tales of sacrifice of old, right? Let's say, like, for instance, the stories that are in the religious books, like in the Bible or something like that, right? Because it's a little confusing. So as you could probably already notice, is that we're going to talk about sacrifice, okay? Kind of like what it is, what it means, kind of look for examples of what it exactly, so we can understand what sacrifice is. So, like the definition of sacrifice, so when I looked up, I wanted to look up the definition of sacrifice, and but the first few definitions of the word sacrifice involved some religious aspect, slaughter of an animal for the gods, or present, what I'm saying? Several definitions, but several definitions down, then you get to the one that's kind of like more generic, but it describes in a proper sense of kind of like what we're gonna get at today. So it says an act of giving up something valued for the sake of something else that's regarded more important or worthy. So you give up something of value for something else, either more important or more worthy of that thing that you gave up, right? That's like the non-religious, meaning to the word sacrifice, right? That we could probably all understand. You give something up for something better, right? So let's go to the tales. Let's go to the tales. Let's go way back to the tales, like in the Bible about sacrifice, right? It seems like um, when we so there's plenty of tales of sacrifice. So one of the main things that we always hear or see, like in the religious books about sacrifices, you know there'll be a feast and a festival, and the king or the prophets or whoever ran the show, whatever, they grab the the strongest bull, or the baby goat, with the whitest, with the wool that was the whitest, doves. Certain animals kind of seem to have had more value, right? Because of the baby goat, a baby sheep. You know, it's just a baby. I mean, it's gonna be worth more in the future when the wool grows and the milk and the meat and the offspring and all these things, right? Um, so then they, in the stories, it's like they had a festival and they sacrificed these animals, and then they burned them, kind of like to the gods or something, in order to receive a better harvest season, right? Or weather for the, because it's dry, all these things, right? So when a city, when a nation, when a king and them wouldn't make like proper sacrifices, if, let's say for instance, if they didn't pick the best bull and the best sheep and the best, they just brought whatever and sacrificed it and killed it and burned it and offered it, things wouldn't go right. You know what I'm saying? Like the rain wouldn't come, or the whatever would happen, right? So these tales go on, and they kind of remind us over and over about making proper sacrifices, and the sacrifices have to be clean, and the animal has to be clean, and the person who does it has to be clean, and all these different like steps and processes of this thing that they do, right? And in our mind, it's always about killing the animal and like burning it. And then you read the stories, and it's, in my mind, when I read some of these stories about sacrifice, how we talked about in Remnants, was like when you rewind the tape, it's almost like whatever this thing that they're doing, it's almost like if you rewind the tape, it goes back to something, because they described these festivals and whatever, and they chopped up this cow or a bull or whatever and threw it in the flame and opened it and all this, and then after they prayed and whatever, then everybody ate it. The priest ate first, and then everybody else got to eat it. Damn, it just sounds like a big old cookout. You know what I'm saying? But they honored, thank you, Lord, right? Thank you, Earth. Thank you, Great Spirit. Thank you, life. Thank you, existence, for giving us this food that we're about to eat, because we had to kill some of our animals to eat this food, and we're gonna celebrate because of the moon or because of the whatever, right? So when you rewind the tape, those things seem like, because as a spectator, oh damn, you're just looking, look, they chopped them animal up, they cut them and they put them in the fire, they're all singing and dancing or whatever, and then look, now they're all eating. Sounds like a huge party, right? So somewhere along the line, this idea of sacrifice kind of seems to have lost in the translation. Because I wondered, I've wondered about what exactly is, if I kill this baby goat that's mine, right? My baby sheep, my baby goat, my dove, and I burn it, right, with some prayers and stuff like that. When we think logically and when we use reason, okay, what does that do? What does that do? What is that going to produce for me, right? So I've killed I've sacrificed my last goat, my last, you know. So I've always wondered, like, okay, so you burn it and it goes up into the smoke, and then because you read stories in the Bible and other religions, not just the Bible, but about sacrifices and the gods would smell the I don't know what's supposed to happen. And they were pleased with what you cooked. But if they weren't pleased with what you sacrificed, then there would be trouble, right? So there's something there. There's something there because we all know that we understand that sacrifice, you're giving something up, you know, of value for something that's gonna be, maybe more valuable or be worth, not in value but worth more, you know, down the line, in the future, 5 years, 10 years later, whatever, right? So one of the main stories, or probably the story that would come to mind about proper sacrifices or no proper sacrifices is the story of Cain and Abel, right? In the Holy Bible story, the first two, right, quote unquote, the first two sons of the first two humans or whatever. We're not, never mind that part. So Cain and Abel, as them, the story goes on and says that one of them made the proper sacrifices. He got up early and he tended to his fields. Same. He he helped in the neighborhood, right? He did things that were good. So his offerings were good. It was the best of his first fruits, the best of his, his corn that he grew, or his apples and his livestock, right? He he sacrificed the best of his stuff, the best of what he had to offer, right? And then the other brother, it says that he didn't make good sacrifices, or he wasn't, basically the story is he didn't make the proper sacrifices, right? So when we look at that, it's like he didn't get up early to tend the fields. He didn't tend the fields regularly when they're supposed to be. If you're growing corn or wheat or livestock, there's certain things that have to be done. You have to make proper use of your time, right? So when he wasn't making the right sacrifices, and it says that God kind of looked down upon him, that's where the story gets a little confusing, because now we're imagining the entity, the man upstairs, the being looking down and saying, you know what, I don't like you. I don't like what you're doing, or something like that, right? So I'm gonna punish you, and people aren't gonna like you or whatever. Okay, but let's just push that back a little bit, and let's just look at like kind of like what we're saying earlier. Okay, so he doesn't tend his fields when he's supposed to, right? He's not tending to his livestock properly, right? And so things go bad. So when you don't do these things, then of course your harvest is not gonna work out. Your animals might get sick and die. You know what I'm saying? If you're not friendly or helpful in the neighborhood with the people around you or whatever, they're not gonna like you. You know. So let's start looking at that gives us an example of how, when we can look at the definition that we read earlier about sacrifice, and kind of mix it and blend it into what the religious stories are trying to tell us about sacrifice, proper sacrifices, the right kinds of sacrifices, and then the reward part. God looks good upon you, or he looks down upon you. You know what I'm saying? He'll reward you with stuff, or he'll take away stuff, right? That's like cause and effect. If you don't tend your fields, your harvest is gonna die. All your plants are gonna die. If you don't tend to your animals, your animals are gonna get sick and die, or stuff. Same with the family at home or business. When you don't tend to the proper things that you need to, in order for these things to work right, your fields, for your corn to grow good, for your animals to be healthy and reproduce, and all these things, you have to make good decisions about how you're gonna your time, invest your time, right? Because you could be out there with the broads, and he was probably hanging around with the girls and messing around and whatever, and then so when the time came for the harvest, or for these things to happen, it didn't work out. And not only that, that upset him because, hey, you weren't doing your job. Now you're mad that your corn died. Now you're mad that your sheep got disease. Now you're angry. You know what I'm saying? And then the story about him fighting with the brother and killing him or whatever. But the part is the important part is you know this one brother do didn't make proper decisions about his time and his effort and what he did and how he did it. He was lazy, he was slothful, he was half-assing or whatever, right? So when we look at that and we say, okay, look, let's look in life. When you half-ass stuff, when you don't get it to work in time, when you don't, hitting the fields every day early and tending to the fields, if you don't work, if you don't get to work on time, if you know, all these things, they lead in a path to where then things go bad because you haven't been making the proper sacrifices, right? You haven't been getting up early to get to your job on time. There's traffic on the freeway, and and then so you're always late. You know, these things translate. You know, so making the proper sacrifices can lead. You can make sacrifices, but whether they're proper or not can lead to good outcomes or bad outcomes. Because simply doing something, simply working, simply, you know, doesn't necessarily lead to good outcomes unless they're clean and pure, like ideas or what you're doing it for, right? I'm going to start this business. Oh, I'm going to build this studio for what? So I can make more content, you know? Este, so in life, in the religious books, they try to explain to us about sacrifices, but in life, so we understand that, right? And then, like, so sometimes we can make sacrifices to, so an example, sacrifices to things that don't do us any good, right? So in the scriptures or in the religious books, they'll talk about like idols or false gods and stuff like that, right? Okay, so an idol in the scriptures that we know, how we know it of, is a a man-made carved object made out of wood or stone or gold or whatever. An object man-made. That's kind of like what the idol is. A man-made thing, right? So one of the things that I learned about myself going back some years is that I used to be kind of used to kind of be like really into like the sports, or like not really sports but like Cowboys and Mavericks, and I wanted to watch every game, and if I could go or if I could hang out with my friends at to watch the game at the house, or Sunday to watch the Cowboys at somebody's, you know what I'm saying? So I invested a lot of time in that stuff, right? I would, I would neglect, my home, my wife, my kids, because I'm at the watching the game with my friends or whatever, right? So that kind of sacrifice. So I'm you know what I'm saying, I'm doing one thing for the instead of the other. You know what I'm saying? Remember, giving up something of value for the sake of something else regarded to have more. So I was giving up time, let's say at home with my kids and my wife and maybe family time together, to be at my friend's house watching a game, football, basketball, whatever, right? And somehow there seemed to have been more value in that. So like in the religious books, when they try to tell us about idols, man-made things that we sacrifice to, I was sacrificing time, important time at home, to a man-made thing, sports, a sports team, right? So back in the day, they had the idols, the gods, and the idols, and they would get their glory. Like it would glory, they're looking for their glory from this god, from this statue, from this idol. They would bring offerings and worship it and stuff like that, right? So something like glory was supposed to come from this man-made thing. Now let's go over to the other side. I was getting my glory from the Cowboys winning or the Mavericks winning. And then when they would lose or whatever, forget about it. Everybody gets mad and we get mad and we get angry and I would get angry and right? So so letting this man-made thing, sports team, whatever, that I sacrificed a lot of my time to, gave me my. I was looking for glory from it, and that's no different than what the people used to do back in the day by bringing offerings to a statue. Remember, something gets lost in the translation. Remnants. I sacrificed a lot of time, right, to these idols, sports teams, whatever. And so when we were so like the brother that didn't make the good sacrifices or whatever, God didn't like him and kind of punished a little bit or whatever. So so cause and effect, right? So I wasn't making the right sacrifices at home. Effect, you know, my wife left, I got a divorce, whatever, right? So we can see with these examples that the story is telling the exact same thing, but it's just, we're just in the words, because we're thinking religious words, we're thinking sacrifice, we're thinking, right? But when we look at the meaning of it, of the meaning of itself, and just look at it generally, at everything generally, then it tells us the story that we need to hear. That's why wise men throughout time in religion, uh, have always seemed to try to warn people somewhat, not too many. I can only think of one or a couple, maybe one specifically, but that says not to worship idols. Well, forgive me, no, because the Hebrews, the Jewish people, don't have idols, and they, God, you can't make an image of God and all this stuff. So yes, forgive me. That's that. But we're not right. So they've been telling telling people like, hey, don't make these things and don't worship them. They're man-made things, but uh, uh, somehow, we can nowadays, we can kind of, just by what we're taught, is simply assume that all we're talking about is a statue that people pray to or bring offerings to, like you see a lot in the Mexican culture, like Santissima Muerte. People have statues of the Muerte statue at home, and they gave offerings, and that's an actual statue, like made out of concrete or paper mache or whatever, right? But see, that's not the only thing that the words of wisdom talk about. Any man-made object, a car, a home, a job, money. You know what I'm saying? As that, you know, people spend money on a lot of money on a brand new car. 50, 60, 70,000 on the new Camaro or whatever, because it looks cool, and I'm gonna feel so good while I'm driving it. Everybody's gonna be looking at me. It's gonna glorify me, this thing, this car, this purse, these shoes, this gold chain. It's gonna make me feel good, because people are gonna say, oh wow. And this is all in our mind. People are gonna say, oh wow, he must have it going on because of his car. Oh, look at his shoes, look at her purse, look at that watch. They must have it going on. See, all of that is on our own mind. Nobody cares what you're wearing, nobody cares what you're driving, nobody cares what kind of purse you have. We look for glory in things that are man-made, and they cost money, and we'll spend time, and I'll work a week or two to afford that purse, or I could barely afford all my stuff, but I got that cool car though. But in the meantime, everything else is too tight and too squeezed. Why? Because I need to have that car, or these things are man-made, and we look for glory. We try to get glory out of these things: sports, cars, wealth, whatever, diamonds, chains, purses. Are you like stuff that's man-made? and we sacrifice to these things. They become idols sometimes. Now, if we have self control and we're disciplined in our mind and in our thoughts and how we think and everything, then we'll be able to where these things don't affect us like that. Where we understand that it's any purse will do, any wallet will do. You know, shoes quality, clothing quality, car quality. You know, we're the ones that put the value into some of these things. We value them more than you know I don't know, our time. you know like you know building this studio. It was a lot of work. It took me a lot of work, because I have a day job, and I was working on this on the weekends, and I mean every day. I took a couple days here and there break after work during the week, but Saturdays and Sundays every weekend for a month and a half, I believe. It took me about a month and a half, a month and a week. But I didn't do nothing. I knew ahead of time. I said I'm gonna work this Saturday all day. I'm gonna work Sunday all day. If I need to go get stuff at Home Depot, if I need to whatever, I'm gonna do until the sun goes down. I knew it. And then when I would get home from work, I knew I had to put in a few hours, and no matter what, until the sun goes down. I had to advance. I had to finish. You know what I'm saying? It had to get done. I didn't want it just to take forever and to sit there, right? So I had to make the proper decisions with my time and make sure that I wasn't going to do anything and nothing was going to get in the way of my time for me to getting home and finishing up, right? And then on the weekends I had planned out that I'm not going to do nothing because I have to work, right? I have to finish this project. Now let's just kind of look at that real quick, and let's think about what we're saying about the Cain and Abel story, right? Now, if I didn't do that, right? If I didn't make the time to work every single day, every weekend, and every single day after work, you know, for a month and a week or however many days it was, a month and 2 weeks, whatever it was, as them, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. The AC is on. It's cold. It's comfortable. I got chairs. I got my screen. I got everything I need in here right now to be able to record. This is the second show that we're dropping from the studio. Everything's ready. I'm doing little things here and there, but no, there's no more rush because everything is basically ready. But if I wouldn't have made that time on the weekends, if I wouldn't have told myself every day after work to come home and to put some hours into here, we wouldn't be here right now. We wouldn't be here yet. And then if I was slothful and angry and mad and whatever, and things didn't go right, and I said, you know what, I quit, leave it all half-assed or whatever. Imagine how bad that would be. But by doing the proper timing and sacrifices and the things that the dedicating of the time to investing in this, we're done. And now I can relax. Now when I get home, I could come in my office and do work if I need to, or just relax if I need to, or just sit down and watch entertainment. Everything's ready because I planned and prepared and did the things that I needed to finish, to complete, to finish my studio. You know, like faith without action is useless. In the scriptures and in religion, we're told to have faith. Have faith that things are gonna be good. Have faith that things will straighten out. That this rough patch that you're going through isn't gonna last forever. Have faith that that business that you want to own, you will own it. That podcast that you want to make, you will make it. Right? Have faith in these things, we're told. But faith alone doesn't, faith alone didn't build this studio. Faith alone isn't going to build your business. Faith alone isn't gonna make that podcast build an audience. Doesn't You have to work. You have to work. And knowing that knowing that you're gonna work towards something, that you're gonna sacrifice your time properly, and you're gonna work towards something, you know, the faith in that and the hard work is gonna get you to your destination. Faith alone is I'm just gonna pray every night about it. I'm just gonna pray that things change in my life. I'm just gonna pray that I find that better job, or that these problems go away. I'm just gonna have faith that they're just gonna, you know what I'm saying? In the meantime, we're doing the same thing over and over, not making the proper sacrifices, to those things, those problems, they will be resolved. They can be solved. They will be resolved. Those things will be fixed. You have to have faith, but you have to do some stuff too. You have to work, right? Sometimes it's us, right? So we need to figure out, right? What am I doing wrong in the relationship, right? What am I doing wrong at work? Why is it that I can't never catch a break? Why is the world always against me? There's work that needs to be done. So having faith alone isn't gonna fix those things internally, right? If I want to figure out what the problem is, why nobody likes me at work, why nobody likes me at school, why I'm having trouble at home with my wife or my family, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Kind of like going back to making proper use of your time. I so as I spend a lot of time. I follow creators. I have certain channels that I follow them. I watch all their new episodes, and not really. I don't want to use the word religiously, but you're a fan of. You become fan of certain channels and certain not streamers, but content producers, right? And so I spend a lot of time online looking at videos or searching for new content or studying. A lot of my study comes through the audio side. So I spend a lot of time online, and I actually have I have YouTube Red, YouTube Premium, so it actually keeps track of metrics like how much time you spent watching or background play or whatever. So I've actually one of my favorite ways of ingesting information is through audio. Since I drive a lot, since I drive during the week with our company, as then I'm always listening, you know, and I don't have to be on calls or anything. So there's plenty of time for me to listen, and that's how I ingest all these books and literature and stuff is through audio, right? And then of course I listen to podcasts and these things also, but it's a constant ingestion of information. Now, on YouTube, it tells me that I've background play where you shut the screen off. See, when you have premium, you can shut the screen off and it'll keep playing in the background, so you can use that to listen to your shows or whatever. As that, I have over. I gotta double check, but I have over 3,000 hours of background play, and that's all lectures, audiobooks, important stuff. As that, I I don't spend much time on entertainment. A little bit, I somewhat, but not on. I don't spend that much time on entertainment. It's mostly edification. So I have literally have thousands of hours of ingesting information. Now, those same thousands, and that's how we get to where we are today with what we're able to talk about here, with the ideas and the things that when I talk about Plato and Socrates and all these things and the different religions of the world, I wouldn't be there if it weren't for my investment of time into these things. Thousands of hours over the past, I don't know, 7 years or 6 years, as the it's about 7 years. Thousands of hours of study that I could have been watching Sopranos. I watch The Sopranos all the time too, but on my entertainment, I separate my time. You know, I need specific amount of time for edification, and then I'll know when it's time for just entertainment. You know, like certain days we don't need to continue studying over and over. Like we do take breaks with the studying and stuff, right? For the majority, and then we'll watch some entertainment. You know what I'm saying? That's it. But I can separate those times. You know, usually my work time, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to whenever I get home. That's the time that I put to study. Sometimes I might have to get into something when I get home back in the office or whatever. But for the most part, it's just Monday through Friday till about 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, day after day, week after week, for years now. That's thousands of hours that I could have put towards something else. I gave up sports a long time ago uh, when I realized it was causing me a lot of problems and my drug addiction, of course, and all that. But I realized that sports had become an idol, so I gave sports up after my wife left and all that. So I gave that up. I said, you know what? I don't have time for this stuff anymore. So so we could go back to the meaning, right? I gave up something of value that I valued, spending time with my friends and watching the Mavericks win and Cowboys, whatever, for the sake of something else. I I I I needed to invest my time in something more worthy. So I got into health and fitness, you know, and then I got into studying even harder. So those that a lot of that time that I used to spend, with doing nothing, hanging out or being with friends or watching garbage or whatever, just listening to music or whatever, just spending time on absolutely nothing. Those moments became productive, you know, because now I would spend an hour at the park running or, a few hours on the audiobooks and studying and reading and all these things. So I started making more proper uh, decisions about my time and about what am I going to invest my time on, what am I going to watch, what kind of things am I going to stay away from, understanding that certain things will become like idols to me, sports and all this, and I didn't need that. So there was like a purification there in the sacrifice, because yeah, I was sacrificing time for my wife to go hang out and watch sports, but the purification of the sacrifice, right? Making sure that it's a pure sacrifice, the white wool and the sheep or whatever, you know. So now that time, I want it to be productive. I want that time to go to something good. If it's not edifying, I don't, it doesn't. I understand entertainment and time for entertainment and stuff, but for the most part, if something isn't edifying, I don't want to spend too much time on it. You know what I'm saying? Now I used to, you've seen my medals and all that, and I was spending a lot of time on my health, a while back, a year, 2 years ago. But now my time is more valuable because that takes so much time. I mean, I would run 1,000 miles a year, training or whatever, and then I do my races and all these things. But that takes a lot of time and effort. And now that we have this going, we're growing our audience and we're getting better at what we do, and we've built a studio to be able to produce more content, to come here and to just really start reaching out and start doing more things. This time is more valuable, now than for me to go waste and I'll say waste, and it's not a waste, but the value, I can't afford to go spend 2 hours at the park every day nowadays, because then this doesn't get done. So going back to proper sacrifices, I, sure I can. Like if I want to get healthy and I want to get my six pack back and everything, yeah, we can do it all day, whatever. We can go for it, you know. But then we have to manage. We'll have more stuff to manage, right? So if we want things like, for instance, I need to be at a place where things are pretty calm, where I'm not too overly overloaded. So if I were to, let's say, start running again and start training again, I'll be way overloaded. And I don't know if there'd be proper time for this, for the show, or for, what I'm saying. So there's a lot of there's a lot of wisdom that goes into, you know making these decisions on properly, making the proper sacrifices, you know because yeah, if I want to, I can go get some more uh medals, you know but it's like, I understand, like, I've already been there, so it's like I don't need to try that anymore. There's new land to conquer. There's new territory to conquer. I've conquered that. I conquered my body. I conquered my mind. So there's more land to conquer now. And I have to make the proper, of my time, the proper decisions on how am I going to use my time. If, because I want something, all of this is for something greater. It's not for money, it's not for fame or for wealth. No, this is for something else. I do this for something else. This is for the greater good of you and the listeners and our neighbors, and maybe we can learn something about ourselves, and then it help us expand our mind and free our chains that enslave us, and then at the same time, then we can start helping others, right? So that's what this is all about. That's down there. That's down the road. That's what I see over there. That's what I want from all of this. But if I want that, I have to do, you know, I have to make proper use of my time. I can't go, I can't be going out and the clubs and being with the women and whatever, right? Like, there's things that have, that I have to stay away from in order for this to continue properly. I have to do some things. I have to make some sacrifices, right? I don't do those things. I don't go to clubs anymore. Like, I gave that up years ago. Years ago. So those things, like, those things are, I've given them up, right? So I don't do those things. But you out there listening, you know, I remember that feeling. Like, let's go to the club. All right, let's go to the whatever. Okay, let's do this. Let's do that. Meanwhile, the house is all messed up. Meanwhile, you ain't folded all the clothes that you got washed. Meanwhile, everything at work is all messed up. You can't get along with your coworkers. You know what I'm saying? We have to figure out, what's more important to us. Tending to our fields, right? Because if we don't tend to our fields, to ourselves, to our family, to our homes, to what we do, as that, then when it's time for harvest, it's gonna be bad. There might not even be a harvest. The field might die. So you might get fired. You know what I'm saying? Because you never showed up. You always showed up late, or you never showed up on Monday, or you called in on Friday, and then you would show up, or you drink during lunch, whatever, right? You wouldn't, when we don't make the right decisions, the right sacrifices, then things tend to go wrong. But when we make the right sacrifices, in the scriptures it'll say, like, God shine His light. God will shine His light upon you. He'll bless you, right? Like a reward, because you made the proper sacrifices. It's almost like you'll get rewarded when you do good things. It's like, hey, if you work on the weekends, and if you put the money that you need to build this little studio, and you work every day after work, and you're gonna be tired, yes, and you're gonna be, angry some days, and yes, but if you do it every day for a month and a half, you're gonna have a studio ready to go, everything finished with electricity, AC, everything you need. If you do it properly, timely, You'll be rewarded with a studio that you can produce more content from, that you can eventually start doing live broadcasts from, and you can eventually start doing interviews. It's like a reward. You will be rewarded if you make the proper sacrifices. And it's not about, hey, look at me. No, we observe and we learn from what is around us. All we have to do is look at these stories and dig through them. There's layers that can be peeled back that give us more insight to what's going on in these stories. We have, we have that ability to peel those layers back, because but we have layers in our eye and in front of our eyes that kind of blind and muffle and interfere with seeing these things properly when we read them, because there's a lot of things going on in our mind, in what we've learned or haven't learned about religion or God or whatever about ourselves. We don't learn nothing about ourselves, and we don't get taught right because nobody taught our parents, and then nobody taught them. Same thing goes on generational, right? So like we don't know these things. We have to find a way to understand these. They've been telling us these things forever. Like these stories are gonna stay with us forever, hopefully. Yes, there's a lot lost in the translation, like the remnants of when you rewind the tape. But there's a duty for us to dig through the words and to see what it means. So a lot of the times you hear the wise people at church or whatever it is, just have faith. Yes, true. Just know that when you do these things, there will be proper, there will be like that reward that God gives you. The reward, look at the reward, right? That right in quotes that God gave me for making the proper sacrifices. I have my thesis studio. I have my thesis library here in the studio when it used to be in the house. The other backdrop used to be in the garage. You know what I'm saying? So I have all these things. It's almost like a reward for doing the job properly, for getting your butt up every day and working hard to earn the money that it costs to be able to build and to buy the materials that I needed to build this thing. Then having the grit and the wit to get up and to in the mornings and on the weekends and to buy the tools and have everything that I needed to get here and to bust my butt building this building. Things that I've never done before. I had to look into stuff on the angles and this and that. It has a pitch. I have it has a pitch. It's almost like a church. There's no rafters. There's no ceiling. It's you know what I'm saying. I knew I had a vision of what I wanted this place to look and like to be. I had to make it myself. I had to get dirty. I had to sweat. I had to, I hurt myself. I don't know how many times with the tools and the hammer and the, what I'm saying. Sacrifice. A proper sacrifice is getting up in the morning and getting to work, knowing that you have to provide for your family. I don't like my job. Well, proper sacrifice means keep working until you find something better because your family is depending on you. Proper sacrifice is trying to figure out what's wrong with us. Why am I having problems at home? If I'm having problems at home, why am I having problems at work? Why is it that I can't get along with it? Why is it that everybody out there seems to have it against me? Proper sacrifice says no. Let's look inward. What am I doing? Am I doing something wrong? Am I saying something wrong? What's my attitude? Am I loving? Am I caring? Proper sacrifices. You're a boss. You're running a business. You have workers. You can't be out there partying. You can't be out there bullshitting, drinking, driving, whatever, with the broads and the parties or whatever. You can't be doing that because, right? Because You have a responsibility to your workers, to your company, to the clients. You know what I'm saying? Proper sacrifice is the owner of the business to keep his head on straight, to always think of the workers, to always think of the customers, to put others ahead of themselves. That's a proper sacrifice. Letting go, like putting away, putting aside entertainment, putting aside you going out, putting aside having some fun or whatever for something better, for something that's gonna have more worth, more value. Like a studio, for instance. We have to make the proper sacrifices in life. These words, they sound because of the religion and all sacrifices, and then you look it up and all that, and then every definition talks about killing a goat or killing a this and offering up to the gods or whatever. But no, let's look at it in the way that we, just generally speaking, right? An act of giving up something valued for the sake of something else, regarded as more important or worthy. What do you regard more important or worthy of your time, of your effort, of your money, of your time, especially now in the age that we live in, an age of information? How much time do you spend looking at garbage that doesn't edify you? How much time do you spend, watching entertainment that's not edifying, right? How much time do we, us, you, us, everybody, how much time do we sacrifice to man-made objects, to man-made things, to sports, to cars, to purses, to whatever? That time, you only have a certain amount of time in your life. It's very valuable. You have about 80 years, to make the best of your time. What are you going to waste it on? What are you going to dedicate your time to? You can make improper sacrifices and waste it away at the club or going out or looking for glory in cars or in something else, some other man-made object. Or you can dedicate it to something better, edifying yourself. Health, too. Okay, get your health straight. Get your mind straight. Get your business straight. Get your family straight. Get your home straight. A true king, a true king or queen has their house in order. What good is that fancy car? What good is that gold chain? What good is that purse? What good is that car, the watch? And what good is all this thing if your house is all messy and it's all out of order? Fights and angry and whatever. We have to have our homes in order. Our home right here, me first. Because then those sacrifices, that car, whatever, they don't mean nothing. That money that you spent on that car, on that watch, it doesn't mean nothing. It's not going to give you nothing in the long run. There's not going to be no return, right? There's not going to be anything that comes back. The value of it is only what you put into it. It's a man-made object. It can't glorify you. It doesn't give you glory. It doesn't give you freedom. It doesn't give you these things. There's nothing that these objects can give you. But if we learn to make the proper sacrifices, then we'll be okay. We'll be okay because we know with faith that's saying, okay, if I work hard and if I keep my nose clean and if I stay, if I act right, if I don't, spend too much time in the calle, in the street, at the club with the broads or whatever, then I know that life should probably be a little bit more smoother. Things have been going way better for me lately and in recent years, but because I changed my ways. I changed my mannerisms. I don't party anymore. I don't do heavy drugs anymore. I gave all that stuff. I lost so much, and for me to go back, it's like, no. But So it took years, but years of making the right decisions, proper, more proper, not always right, but more proper choices, more proper decisions, more proper sacrifices, year after year after year. Things get good. I have money now in my, I have money that I could spend that I didn't used to. I'm making connections. I'm networking with people. I got the studio now. It's like so much things are going good, but they would not be going good if I had not made the proper sacrifices and invested my time properly in getting the things done that I needed to do to get to where I am now. And the same goes for you out there. It takes time and it takes work, but have faith in knowing that if you make the proper decisions, if you make the proper choices in life, if you act right and you make the proper sacrifices in life, then there will be a reward later on down the way. Your home will be, your family will be fixed. You'll be making money at work. Things will be well, but because you've dedicated time and effort properly day after day, week after week, year after year. And the reward will be balance, will be calmness in life, will be, just smooth sailing. But because of the work that you put in, you have to make the proper sacrifices in order for these rewards, to be, blessed, for you to be blessed with these rewards. You have to make the proper sacrifices in life. Make good decisions about how you're going to spend your time and where you spend your time and with who. You can do it. We can all do it. I'm trying to be the example, but you can be the example too, and just know and trust that it can happen. It can happen. Just make the right choices, the right sacrifices, and you will see it also. All right. That's it. All right. Woo, dang it. All right. That's it. Very good. Let me take a breath there. All right. Well, all right. I'm just gonna just right there. We're gonna cut it off right there. That's there. All right. I hope that you enjoyed that message about sacrifices and have a better understanding of what it truly means, right? So when we look at what religion tells us, and now we can understand it a little bit better. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that message, and I hope it touched your heart, and I hope it kind of like that light bulb in your mind, like, oh my God, I never thought about it that way, or something like that, where it sparks interest for you to dig a little bit deeper into the meaning of these things. And if you did like it and you enjoyed it, please, if you have not yet, hit the subscribe button on YouTube if you're watching us on YouTube, or on Spotify. Hit the follow on Spotify. Give us a 5-star rating if you like what you heard, and tell your friends. Please share. Tell your friends. It really helps get the word out. What we're trying to do here is something different, as you can tell. We're coming at you a little bit different. Well, I really have a great time doing it. I really enjoy the time that we get to spend together, and I hope you did too. So if you did, please, help us out by following us, sharing, and all of those things. All right, guys. Well, that is it. I hope you enjoyed what you did. I hope you enjoyed the show. I know I did, and I enjoy every minute of it. So we're gonna go ahead and leave it there. I want you guys to be safe, to stay healthy out there, and make good choices with your time. Invest your time properly in something good, something edifying, that you're gonna learn something. You know what I'm saying? You can be entertained, but while you're learning, right? And in the long run, those sacrifices are gonna be good. They're gonna be reward. There's gonna be a reward to it, but they have to be proper. So make them proper. All right, guys. In the meantime, stay healthy, stay safe, all that other good stuff. Check back on us soon, because I am going to be putting more content out now that we got the studio. So just check back on us soon, and that's it. All right, guys. Stay safe, healthy. I will see you guys later. Peace out, folks.
This is Thesis.